It's a new year, a new season, and we are underway.
Really dominating fashion here today is going to win.
2, 3, 4 for the final time.
Win number 1 on the season, only just barely.
He is going to win here at the Atlanta Speedway.
Wins the Emerson Electric 100K.
Gonna be Igor Barretto's gonna eke it out.
Cup Series champion is Shane Lake in the number 15.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
After the wild road course race that we had last week, the Turkey Hill National Series is back along with the NOFSRL Cup Series, and this time at one of the fastest mile-and-a-half racetracks around. We are here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This the John Deere 300 in Season 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 6 in season number 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. We are here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for 39 laps of action around this 1.54 mile speedway in Hampton, Georgia. And it's going to be a very unique race here today because the GNS physics compared to the Cup physics you guys are going to be seeing tomorrow is completely different. And the racing that we're going to see today is going to be much different than what we're going to see tomorrow. The outside lane works very well in these GNS cars, not as much so in the Cup cars tomorrow, and that's going to really make passing difficult in this event. So these guys starting up front like Hayden McCrow, Joshua Harrison, Ethan Farley, they're going to have a good shot at possibly going to victory lane here today. Joined alongside Chase Harrison, Matt Tuck for the call of today's event. And Chase, with that outside lane being so dominant for these cars, do you think someone starting up front like McCrow or Joshua Harrison is going to go to victory lane here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Yeah, I do. You know, that top line it gets a huge run, especially coming off of 4. So I do think, yeah, somebody from the top line will probably end up winning just because passing can be a little difficult if you're on the bottom line.
Yeah, we saw in the qualifying session for the NOFSRL Cup Series, even though we weren't racing quite yet, you can definitely see that inside lane worked a little bit better for those guys. We're not going to see that tomorrow. How do you think that's going to affect, the outcome of this race in terms of how many cautions we have? These guys spread out a lot more than they're going to be spreading out tomorrow in the NOFSRL Cup Series race, Matt. Do you think, we're going to see a pretty clean race here today with the Turkey Hill National Series?
Well, obviously, we'll find out over the course of today's race. But, it is Atlanta. Anything can happen here. It's one of the more wild racetracks that we go to. But, we'll see as this race unfolds. But, again, as always, anytime you come here, expect the unexpected because anything can happen here.
It definitely can, and it definitely will. Only 39 laps of action, but still a 60-mile race here today at Atlanta. Should be interesting to see who gets it done. We've yet to have a multiple-time winner yet in either series this year. We could possibly see that here today. Our last winner was Noah Clifton at Willow Springs. But a lot of the guys up front at points have not won races this season. Mitchell Collins, Dennis Stryker, Stephen Colon, none of those guys, I should say, have gone to victory lane yet this season. 147 points for Mitchell Collins. He's the points leader. A 3-wide tie for second between Dennis Stryker, Stephen Colon, and Andrew Williams. Andrew Williams won at Auto Club. And then Trey Bartow coming into this race, 5th in points, 14 points behind. But that's only after 5 races, still 29 races, including this one left to go in this Turkey Hill National Series season. We'll go ahead and give these guys a roll off here from the John Deere 300. Aiden McCrow in the number 28 starting on the pole position alongside him. Like we mentioned, Joshua Harrison in the number 48. In run number 2, it's Ethan Farley starting alongside Stephen Colon. Colon with a shot at taking the points lead at the end of the day. He starts in the 4th position. Christian Vargas alongside BB Ruiz in run number 3. Priya McShane alongside Trey Bartow. Bartow's had a great season so far. Comes into this race 5th in points, looking to get his 2nd Turkey Hill National Series championship. Renan Esip to the inside of our points leader, Mitchell Collins, there in the number 27. Make sure everyone's rolling off okay, and it looks like they are. Chase, then Matt, who do you guys going to go to victory lane here in the John Deere 300 at Atlanta?
Well, right now I'm looking at that pole sitter, the number 28 car of Aiden McCrow. I think he's in the best position. I think that he'll get a good start here, and he'll probably end up dominating this race, but who knows, that high line works really well around here.
I'm going to pick a guy I think I've already picked a few times this year, but I'm going to take the 62 of Christian Vargas in the bright orange tide right here today. I think he's going to roll through, get his first win of the season here today in Atlanta.
We'll have to see if he can do so. This is a very interesting track. We really don't know what to expect today, but we do know the fuel window is about 32 laps, so they're going to have to come down before the end of the race at some point. Pace car down the pit lane. We're green flag racing here on this Friday afternoon in the John Deere 300 at Atlanta. Lap 1 and a bonus point towards the championship for Aiden McCrow in the number 28. Good jump on the start for him. Joshua Harrison in that outside lane. And you're going to see it right here. Harrison, Cologne on that outside lane. Harrison going to get a good run down the backstretch, but not close enough to get to Aiden McCrow. And already you're seeing that outside lane really form up. These guys who start on the inside falling back just a little bit, while those guys who start on the outside and moving their way close to the top 5. There's Trey Bartow in the 54 right behind BB Ruiz. He's going to take the 5th position away from Ethan Farley.
And Macro's got to be careful here because obviously, if he goes up too high to block off a run from anybody behind him, he could put himself into the wall easily as that 98 goes way up the racetrack. But you have to be careful early in this run, and especially when you're protecting the high side as they go 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Oh, and a problem, I think, on the 28 machine right at the start of the race. So that's effectively going to end McCrow's chances at winning here, and that could be a tire issue on the number 28 machine. We see a lot of mechanical issues here at Atlanta. It is a very common place for that. A lot of engine failures here. We're going to probably see a lot of that tomorrow. That's going to hand the lead over to Joshua Harrison. So our first lead change of the day, and it's for an issue on the number 28 machine.
Guess I jinxed another one. Man, that's really unfortunate for Aiden McCrow. Good battle right here for the lead between the 98 and the 48 going at it, so I'm expecting to see close battles all day long, but the pit strategy is really going to change up the whole complexity of this race.
It definitely will. Like I mentioned, the fuel window about 32 laps is in the wall. Landon Smith Jr., just like you were saying, Matt, you can't get too far up there, otherwise you hit the wall. And the race a lot like they do at Darlington here at Atlanta. Very unnatural for a place like this, but that outside lane is where you want to be. And BB Ruiz trying to get that outside lane to work in his favor to the inside, or he's going to probably look to the inside of Harrison eventually, trying to get that run on the 48 machine. Meanwhile, Mitchell Collins to the inside of Trey Bartow as Aiden McCrow already a lap down. If things stay the way they are, he'll finish last here today after starting on the pole in this John Deere 300.
And that's going to hurt him in the points, but these guys are still dicing all back up and around through here in the front of this pack. Bartow to the bottom of Ruiz. You're going to have to probably work a couple laps to get that bottom line to come in, but as Bartow goes to the bottom, his teammate Landon Smith Jr. to the top. These guys up front are just slicing and dicing, but still out front is the leader in the 48 of Joshua Harrison, and he's looking good for the moment.
He definitely is. A great job in that Angel Racing machine. Of course, we haven't seen too much of Joshua Harrison. I mean, we kind of have. He's 6th in the points, so he's had a good year so far, only 15 points behind. So a win here today could give him the points lead. Landon Smith Jr. way up there in the 51 machine. He got close to that wall and actually hit it a little bit earlier, but he's getting a run there on Roberto Crown Jr. and Priya McShane. She did not have a good race at Willow Springs last week as she went off the racetrack. But she's having a good run right now, trying to rebound after that miserable run out west. She's currently running 3rd. Landon Smith Jr. and Mitchell Collins, our points leader, looking to hold on to that points lead heading into the next race at Rockingham. He's currently inside the top 5. As to the outside for the race lead. You don't hear that every day. BB Ruiz going to take it away from Joshua Harrison.
Man, what a pass right there by BB Ruiz. That was just a straight-up perfect pass right there. Timed it perfectly and rim riding it. Oh, and speaking of rim riding, 51 of Lance Smith Jr. almost got into the wall there. He's been going really high these past few laps, so he's definitely one of those guys that's loving those highline right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And BB Ruiz, I mean, Harrison went low on the corner, and Ruiz was like, I'll just drive right around you. Don't see an outside lane pass in NR 2003 that often. That's a very rare thing. Like a four-leaf clover. St. Patrick's Day was this past Wednesday, so we have to put that reference in somewhere. B.B. Ruiz now leading. Joshua Harrison, Priya McShane, Landon Smith Jr. How about Ben Crouch? Up inside the top 5 right now. Or should I say, yeah, that is Luke Rainey. The number 12 machine up here as well in the wall. Ian Siegel. He's going to fall back right there. And these guys got to be careful when they hit that wall. They could bounce back down and cause an accident. And that's something we do not want to see here today. But these guys are very spread out, and in tomorrow's Cup race, we are not going to see this. They are going to essentially be racing in a pack. I mean, eventually when the tire wear comes into effect tomorrow, they will spread out, but not like this. A lot more single file here in this race than what we're going to see in tomorrow's event. There goes Landon Smith Jr. to the inside of Priya McShane. But as we have seen so far here today, that inside lane is simply not the place to be. And as these tires wear out, I think that inside lane is only going to get worse here at Atlanta. So these guys who are up front right now are going to have the best advantage of going to victory lane here today.
Well, I mean, we'll see how the run goes on. I mean, we've seen, I mean, this looks essentially a lot like the Coca-Cola 400 we had here back in January, where you see a lot of guys spacing out but still racing. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, this is, either way, regardless, top side, bottom side, this is probably the most abusive track for tires on the whole circuit. So we'll see as the run goes on and they get closer to their pit window. But still going strong here for a lot of these guys on that high side.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys doing a good job. Bartow and Landon Smith Jr. still inside the top 10 here. Bartow moving his way back up through the field. Collins may get a run on McShane for third right here, but McShane's going to hold on to that position. So B.B. Ruiz holding on to the top position for the time being in the number 98 machine. Joshua Harrison in second. Harrison might get a good run here on Ruiz. The Ruiz kind of took a middle line right there, and the 48's going to close in a little bit, but McShane is here as well. Barger going to try on the inside of Mitchell Collins there for fourth. And I have to see if Barger can find some way to work the inside lane on the 27. Not going to be able to do so, as caution on the racetrack here, and that's Marty Johnson in the 53. May have gotten caught up with Scott Upton in an accident. And this is a perfect time for a caution because these guys are going to get the opportunity to come down the pit lane right here and not have to worry about fuel for the rest of the race. But a tough break there for Marty. Just talking about how well his teammates were doing, and Bartow and Landon Smith Jr., but now one of the other guys end up in the wall right there, and Marty Johnson, and like I said, I think Scott Upton might have gotten a piece of that one as well. Some damage there on the rear end of that 88 machine. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and see what happens on the pit lane. B.B. Ruiz leading us down. This may play in Ruiz's favor. If he can come out the race leader right here, he might have a good shot at holding this field the rest of the day. But B.B. Ruiz, Joshua Harrison, Priya McShane, Mitchell Collins, Trey Bartow, top 5 coming down the pit lane here at Atlanta.
I actually wonder if Marty Johnson blew a motor, because I can't tell from here, but it doesn't look like he has any damage on that number 53 machine. But this is definitely a very important pit stop, because we've seen there's not a whole lot of position changing through the front of the field. So you're going to want to make this one count.
You definitely do. Joshua Harrison there started on the outside pole, led a few laps, and he got passed by B.B. Ruiz. He is going to go 2 tires. I think a lot of these guys are going to go 2 tires, and Ruiz had a bit of a slow stop right there. He's going to fall to 5th. So it's Joshua Harrison, Landon Smith Jr., Stephen Colon. I thought Hightower beat out Ruiz, but Ruiz is saying that he has the position. You got Priya McShane, R.J. Bishop, Daniel Bouchard, Trey Bartow, Mitchell Collins, top 10 off the pit lane. Well, let's go ahead and see what happened. To bring out the first caution of the day here in the John Deere 300 at Atlanta, Marty Johnson and Scott Upton getting into it in turn number 2. Let's see what happened to bring out the yellow here at Atlanta. You're going to see right here, Marty Johnson, number 53. Little engine that went kaboom, and Scott Upton was right behind him. Nowhere for Upton to really go here. The number 88 machine when they head into the corner. I mean, Marty Johnson slamming on the brakes, trying to slow that thing down, trying to get to the apron. Ethan Farley to the inside of him. Nowhere for him to go, and Upton gets right into the right rear quarter panel of the 53, and around go both the 88 and the 53. And then Isaac Nichols also gets caught up. He sideswipes the outside wall and gets some damage, but that is it. Nobody else gets into these guys. It's just the 88, 53, and 37 who get caught up, thankfully, and most of these guys should be able to continue at the end of the day. I don't know about, I think Upton's going to stay on the lead lap, but Johnson's definitely going to be out of the race after that incident there in the 53 machine. Tough break for Marty, but it's just the way it goes sometimes here, and might not be the last that, we've already seen. It's already a second issue in this race. We saw McCrow have his issue earlier on might not be the last one we see here at Atlanta.
So watching 53 and Marty there, is he just going to, yeah, that's, must be that EcoBoost or something, I'm not sure. And then the 88 is, oh, that 88 just got absolutely destroyed there, Scott Upton. Tough break for both of those guys there. I mean, I don't really know. Can't fault Upton there. There's nothing. Can't fault either of them, really. It's just Marty's motor let go. Scott Upton had nowhere to go there, and they both probably, their days end there.
Yeah, tough break for all those guys involved, but that's just the way it rolls sometimes. Going to give us a nice restart. Going to give these guys an opportunity to come down to pit lane. Won't be a fuel mileage race, which is a good thing. Joshua Harrison won the race off the pit lane. BB Ruiz fell back a little bit. We'll have to see what Harrison can do in this 48 machine here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're back here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway after that small little skirmish between Marty Johnson and Scott Upton. Johnson out of the race in the 53. Keep in mind, too, we do the replays after we do the race, so it's a good chance Marty could have ended up with a engine failure, and Scott Upton got caught up in that. We have 37 guys on the lead lap. The number 21 of Luke Rainey a lap down, unfortunately, and the number 21, and I think he may actually be out of the race at this point. Not entirely sure what happened to him. And then Aiden McCrow still on the pit lane after he had an issue at the top of the show after starting on the pole for this race. He's going to more than likely finish last here today in this one. Joshua Harrison, Landon Smith Jr., Stephen Colon, Joey Hightower, BB Ruiz, they all took right sides only. I think a majority of the field took right sides only. We'll have to see if anyone ends up with an advantage. Back to racing lap 18 of 39, and they all jammed up at the start right there. They're going to go 3 wide for second as Hightower looking for his second win of the season to the inside of Colon and Landon Smith Jr. He may get a run on Harrison if there's any time to work that inside. Now is the time. And from 4th starting position, he's already side by side for the race lead.
Oh, and he got a great I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Joey Hightower, what a start, as you were about to say. But yeah, that was a fantastic start. You can see the 3 wide back here, and I'm telling you, this is some great racing so far. That high line really does prevail, though. You can see the 48 of Joshua Harrison will get back out to the lead after help from that number 80 car of Stephen Colon.
Yeah, there was no room for Hightower to move up, and all these guys going to surpass him more than likely. Oh, someone blowing up! It's Stephen Colon! And another issue here in this race. That's going to allow Joshua Harrison to pull away just a little bit, but that's going to really hurt Stephen Colon in the points heading into the next race. He came in only 8 points behind Collins, and now he is going to fall back after that one. Tough break for him right there. Landon Smith Jr. in a battle with Priya McShane for second. Joshua Harrison, the race leader. Daniel Bouchard trying to get on Joey Hightower. That was actually a bit of a saving grace there for Hightower because he was going to fall back even more, stuck in that inside lane, but now he's settled himself into the 4th position, and BB Ruiz trying to work his way back through the field after he dominated before the caution came out. But it's now Joshua Harrison leading this field in the 48 as we're halfway through the John Deere 300.
A lot of Mustangs at the front of the field today, but you got Landon Smith, Priya McShane, a lot of guys up here at the front of the field. None of them have actually won this season, and I don't actually know. I'm pretty sure everybody up front.
Joey Hightower won in Las Vegas.
Outside of Hightower.
Yeah.
Top 3, I think, are all looking for their first career wins. That 77 sent it in deep, but this 77 and the 25, only 2 cars I see right now who are really trying to make that inside line work and see if they can make something out of it.
And McShane actually got it to work there on Landon Smith Jr. Landon Smith Jr. has won before, actually won the finale race last year in the Turkey Hill Series, so he has won an Napa Fan race before. But for both McShane and Harrison, they're going for their first career wins here today, and they both have a great opportunity of doing so here in this one. But Joshua Harrison has been up front this entire race, but he's going to lose the lead right here, just like he lost it to BB Ruiz earlier. And McShane to the outside for the race lead, and Priya McShane will take it away on lap 22.
Great move right there by Priya McShane, of course. We've seen that all day with the leaders. They go to a middle line, and that's what Joshua Harrison did right there. Allowed Priya McShane to take advantage and car on the wall back here.
That's Will Parrish in the 23, and he's going to fall back a little bit right there. And McShane is out of here. That 77 is really fast. Landon Smith Jr. to the inside of Daniel Bouchard. Bouchard's going to have an advantage on him right here, and Harrison just doesn't seem to have as fast of a car as the rest of the field. I mean, look at that. I'm wondering if McShane took 4 tires on the stop. There's a good chance that could have happened, and if that's the case, I don't know if anyone's going to catch her before the end of this one. She is pulling out to a huge lead here at Atlanta. Mitchell Collins in the outside wall. He's going to lose some ground right there. Julio Cedar to the inside of him. Here comes Andrew Williams in the 17 as well. That's midway through the field. Hightower slipping back in the 25 as they're 3 wide between Bartow and Ruiz. But Priya McShane out to a near second lead here at Atlanta in the John Deere 300.
And one thing we will see, obviously, we still have a decent way to go in this race, so we'll see if those tires start to neutralize it all for this 77, which is just on absolute rails right now. It's a lot of gap to have to make up here, given the way the lane has worked here today, but we'll see if anybody is up to the challenge of making that gap up. You still have a lot of strong cars up here at the front of this field, so, you know, laps winding down, but not out of time yet for these drivers.
Not quite yet, but McShane is putting 0.3 of a second on the field every lap right here. She took 4 tires. There is no question about it, and only unless we get a caution, she's going to drive right away with this thing. I'm very surprised that nobody else took 4 on that stop. McShane clearly did, and it is paying off tremendously right here. Great strategy out of this Smith Motorsports team. Trey Smith is the owner. By the way, his brother drives for your team. Doesn't drive for his team. But Trey Smith in the Cup Series, he's going to be driving for Full Frontal Motorsports tomorrow, and he could be heading into that race with an owner's victory. Be his first ever owner's win if he can pull it off here. And the way it's looking right now, McShane just clearly has the best car on the field with those fresher 4 tires. Collins trying to work that outside. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr., and I would imagine there are a few more guys back in here who have taken 4 tires, like Crown Jr., maybe even Collins and Ruiz here. They have closed in on Joshua Harrison, but it is difficult to make a pass here at Atlanta, and they've had difficulty getting around this 48. He clearly isn't the fastest car on the racetrack, but because that outside lane is so dominant, he's been able to work it to his advantage the past few laps and hold on to this second position.
Yeah, and it's really working out. Oh, and there goes around. There he goes. Mitchell Collins is going to go around him right there. That was a nice move. He waited for the 48 to go to the middle line and made the pass. So great move by Mitchell Collins. But man, I don't think anybody's going to catch Priya McShane at this point, unless, as you said, there is a caution. So looking like that 77's got it, but we do know mechanical problems do happen here. So
they do. We saw Stephen Colon not too long ago blow an engine. He's out of the race. Obviously, Aiden McCrow was the race leader. Those were guys who were first and second when their problems occurred. McShane's got to be careful because you never know. Because this place, the way they work, they almost set these cars up like it's on a super speedway here at Atlanta, and because of that, they really pack the air in, and the air doesn't get through to that radiator as well as they do at other tracks, and sometimes that causes an issue. And because of that, we see a lot of failures here at this racetrack, and you never know when you could see one. Trey Bartow now up to the 4th position. He may have been another guy who took 4 tires. He's working his way through the field very well. He's going to get around Joshua Harrison right here. Very interesting. I mean, Harrison seems to be the only guy who's gotten passed on the outside lane in this race. But at this point, I think it's pretty clear that a lot of these guys that are passing him right now have fresher tires. And right there, that's the first lap since McShane took the lead, that the lead has actually shrunk. Mitchell Collins starting to close in a little bit, but it's a 2-second gap between McShane and Collins, and they're only coming to 8 laps to go here at Atlanta.
We're definitely running out of time for the rest of this field to catch McShane, but, you know, Mitchell Collins is clear. Trey Bartow, I think, is also clear. You know, anything, as we always say, anything can happen, and especially, you know, you have cars, if your cars are down at the oh, that's a big chunk of time taken out. With cars running that middle high lane, you got to keep in mind, too, guys are a lot closer to the wall, so you make a mistake from that middle high lane, and it's going to hurt a lot more than if you're just riding the bottom of a racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. But with these guys essentially going single file at this point, I don't think any of these guys are going to have any issue trying to get around this track. Justin Zeidel up here inside the top 10. Collins with an issue. Collins was trying to chase down McShane. It's not going to work out at all. Hard into him. Ben Crouch in the 44. That was a massive shot into the 27. And the caution's going to fly. We're going to have one more restart in this race. And Collins now with a problem. That is the 4th different driver, I believe, to have had an issue in this, so far, 33 laps that we've had here at Atlanta. And that is not at all what McShane wanted to see, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Trey Bartow's got some fresh tires as well. And he's Trey frickin' Bartow. He's won the championship in this series before. He's not going to let her have it easy. Oh my, how the turntables. Ben Crouch with a ton of damage in the 44 machine. That was a shot into the rear of Mitchell Collins.
That looked like some, it looks like for a moment there, they were trying to replicate what we saw in January here.
Just wait until you see, of course, obviously by the time you guys have seen, you've guys seen the Phoenix Cup race. Wait until you see the Phoenix Cup race, Matt. A couple days from now, the time of us recording this race.
Oh, I guess we know a big wreck's going to happen at Phoenix.
I'll just let you watch it. Just let you watch it on Saturday. They're not going to come down the pit lane right here. That may kind of neutralize these tires at this point, give these guys an advantage, going to put them on equal ground. There's only going to be a couple laps left in this race, and Priya McShane was pulling away with this one, but now Bartow, BB Ruiz, who was leading earlier on, going to be up here. Roberto Crown Jr. and Justin Zeidel, the top 5. Going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. Let's go ahead and see what happened there to bring out the second caution of the day here in the John Deere 300 at Atlanta. Mitchell Collins with an issue, and Ben Crouch running right into him down the front stretch. It's going to be a little bit hard to tell on the slow-mo here, but Mitchell Collins, I would imagine, blew a tire right here. Cuts down to the inside. You're going to see Trey Bartow close in tremendously here on this 27 machine. Bartow almost gets into him. But all these guys coming behind, and eventually once they, reach the double file traffic, it's just impossible for these guys to get around them. And the guy who does unfortunately fail to get around him is Ben Crouch in the 44 machine, and I believe someone else may have gotten some damage from this as well. But Zeidel avoids it in the 8. Harrison avoids it. RJ Bishop, Julio Cesar, they have to split them right there. But you're going to be seeing this 44 come into frame here very soon, and Ben Crouch is going to get a face full of some Hershey's chocolate. Not exactly very tasteful, though, in this situation. Baranowskis right behind all that. She gets a piece of it, and Andrew Williams then rear-ends Ben Crouch, and that's going to take Williams out of the race as well. Tough break for those guys involved, but just like it was in the first accident with Marty, there's really not anything anyone could have done there, and all just because of a tire issue on Mitchell Collins' part in that 27 machine.
And so you can see right here, Mitchell, he's going to come out of turn 4, and then you see something breaks on that car. There's really nothing to do. Bartow barely slips by there, and Collins at this point doing anything he can to get out of the way, but in reality, there's nothing you can do when you have a tire down. And man, that's such a violent hit there for Ben Crouch, and really nothing he could have done there. Super unfortunate, long place, long time, and it's the way it goes sometimes, but hopefully Ben will be able to rebound next race and get a good run.
And what that's going to do, it's going to erase the near 2.5 second lead that Priya McShane had on Trey Bartow. Bartow's going to be right behind her, and Bartow is a fast driver. We'll have to see what he can do on the restart. It's going to be 2 laps to go here in the John Deere 300 in the Turkey Hill National Series. Who's going to get the race victory here at Atlanta? We are back here at Atlanta after that unfortunate incident between Mitchell Collins and Ben Crouch. Of course, Collins was going to have a great run regardless if that didn't end up happening. He's going to finish now in the 34th position where he's currently running at the time. He actually got back out there, so he's going to salvage something, so not all is lost for Collins. 2 laps to go in this race, though. Priya McShane, Trey Bartow, BB Ruiz, Roberto Crown Jr., Justin Zeidel, the top 5. This is the prime opportunity for Bartow, for BB Ruiz, for Roberto Crown Jr. That is not at all what McShane wanted to see. She was going to pull away and win this thing if nothing happened to Collins after he blew a tire, but the caution came out, and she's going to have to battle with Bartow for this race win. Here we go. 2 laps to go in Atlanta for Priya McShane in the Turkey Hill National Series. Will she get her first career win, or will Bartow get his 17th or 18th career win on Napa Fan? He's hanging right there with the 77. McShane, though, with a good jump off the corner.
He's going to have to do something very quickly here because you're going to run out of time to catch that 77 as they head off into 3 and 4. I just don't think he's going to have enough time to get around that 77 car.
McShane is really fast. White flag in the air here in the John Deere 300 at Atlanta for Priya McShane. 1 lap to go. Will Bartow be able to work that outside and close in? That's what he's got to do. You can't get the run on the inside. You got to go high to get it to work, and he's not doing so. McShane, still the race leader. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to get a run on the 98. Half a lap to go here in the John Deere 300. Bartow chasing down McShane. 77. Holding on to the race lead. Bartow trying to go low. Not going to be enough. Priya McShane will get the win she deserves. Off a turn 4, McShane with her first career Napa fan win. She wins the John Deere 300 here at Atlanta. And I think, too, the fact that those tires had worn off quite a bit since we last ran, since they last came down the pit lane, I should say, that made it a little bit harder for these guys to make runs. Still a great run for Bartow. Bartow will more than likely take the points lead heading in the Rockingham next week. But Priya McShane, her first career Napa fan win, she gets it done for Smith Motorsports, and Trey Smith is an owner's winner here in the Turkey Hill National Series.
Wow. That was a great run there for the 77. You know, you gotta feel good for her. You know, that was a really good run that she had all day. As soon as she got them fresh tires, she was able to pull away and dominated there. Had a little bit of a scare with Bartow on the back bumper. That's never who you want there, but she ended up pulling him off and did a great job and got the win.
She did. Very good job out of that 77 team. BB Ruiz rebounded very well as well. He was up front earlier on, lost the lead to Harrison. Lost the lead to Harrison on the pit lane. And then obviously we saw what happened to Harrison. He just didn't have enough speed there after he took only 2 tires. See everyone else back him there. It's a very wacky race here at Atlanta, no doubt about it. And I think we're going to see another wacky race tomorrow in the Truist 500. But Andrew Williams out of the race. Of course, saw what happened to Ben Crouch. It was a little bit more than an ignition, I think, on him. Stephen Colin blew an engine. Luke Rainey blew a tire. And Marty had his accident. And obviously, we saw what happened to Aiden McCrow. And he's still on the pit lane at this point. So many issues in this race. So many mechanical issues in this race. And Matt, I got to wonder, are we going to see a lot of that tomorrow in the Cup race?
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one. You know, we didn't see a whole lot of mechanical issues in January. We just saw a bunch of cars get wrecked. And then obviously we saw the flip side of this today. We saw some cars wrecked, but then we saw everybody decided that their motor wasn't good or something. So kind of a hard coin to flip there to see. You know, we'll find out as that race unfolds. But keep in mind, that's going to be the longest race that's been ran in Atlanta this season. So the odds aren't in its favor to be reliability friendly. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and find out.
We will. That's going to be tomorrow at noon Eastern Time right here on AG Racing, the Truist 500, race 6 of the season in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Congratulations to Priya McShane on her first career Napa fan win ahead of Trey Bartow. And speaking of Trey Bartow, I think he's going to be the new points leader heading into Rockingham next week. Rockingham Speedway, North Carolina. First time we ever gone there in the Turkey Hill National Series for the Food Lion 200. Should be a good one there around that mile-long racetrack in the Rockingham, North Carolina. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Priya McShane once again on behalf of Chase Harris and Matt Tuck. We will see you guys tomorrow for the Truist 500 in the Cup Series and next week for the Food Lion 200 in the Turkey Hill National Series from Rockingham. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.